truth,
love,
and the good.
Here we go.
All right, and today's topic is all about meditation. In fact, we kind of assumed people were meditating when we hit record on the other Tension Mindfulness podcasts. And then we realized, oh, damn, there's a lot of people who actually haven't started a meditation practice yet, and we're already going deeper into mindfulness, and they were asking about basic meditation or basic questions about meditation. So we thought we'd address that here. And the first thing I'm going to do is go into why meditate. I'm just going to list off here a bunch of benefits that are scientifically proven, empirically validated experiments and scientific articles about them. And I'll just rattle them off. Just so you know, meditation is very well accepted by the scientific community for the benefits it brings, including meditation reduces stress. It increases your sense of well-being. Meditation increases your sense of connectedness and empathy. Meditation improves focus. Meditation improves relationships. Meditation makes you more creative. Meditation improves memory. Meditation improves your ability to make decisions. Meditation helps people overcome addictions. Meditation improves cardiovascular health. Meditation enhances your immune system. Meditation helps you find flow. Meditation reduces physical and emotional pain better than morphine. And there you go. I mean, I've talked many times about my own the benefits I've experienced in my own journey of meditation, including increased energy, definitely more focus throughout the day, and probably most importantly, if we're just talking about benefits, it would be emotional regulation, or being able to detach or unblend myself from parts of me that are emotionally overwhelmed, and to be able to get that distance. And this is a basic skill that's necessary to do any good therapy or to make progress in your therapeutic goals. But then actually the most beneficial part of meditation is the actual meditation itself. And if you're not enjoying it, you're just not going to keep doing it. So that's part of where we want to go now. How do you keep it up? How do you get these benefits? Because if you just do it once, you'll get a little, especially if it's your very first time. It's like if it's your very first time working out, you're going to see quite a bit of growth. But just from one session, you're going to get, some results. But the big benefits come when you establish it as a habit and a practice, and you continue to do it consistently over time. So let's talk about that. The first person I learned meditation from was Stefan Ravalli, right here. Actually, there's a backstory. I did my PhD in Asian philosophy and philosophy of religion and philosophical psychology. And of course, we studied meditation. And I studied meditation at University of Michigan, which had a Buddhist studies program where you could get a PhD in Buddhist studies, one of only 3 places in the whole country of America to be able to do that. And I learned meditation as an academic. And just like most of my fellow grad students, none of us could do it. And it was more of like, ha ha ha, this is what those monks did thousands of years ago. Ha ha, this is so difficult. Who would do this? Let's go grab a beer. So I never really learned meditation properly until I had the training with Stefan many, many years ago. So I'm going to throw it over to Stefan for what his views on benefits and results overall of meditation. And so Stefan, what do you think about these various benefits of why meditate?
Yeah, actually, I like that list you generated, because a lot of people, when they look at benefits of meditation, they look at a lot of kind of results of the average, clinical study, and it's usually something like raw and physiological, some kind of symptom was reduced, or something very minute. But you were talking about very experiential things, it increases one's empathy and things like that, which are actually things that we can live and feel in our lives, rather than just reduced blood pressure, increased REM sleep. Like that stuff's like, people seek that. And they seek that kind of data when they decide whether or not they're going to do something. But I feel like when you're actually capable of observing your own life and how the practices you're incorporating in your life are benefiting you, you don't necessarily need the scientific community to give you permission to do anything. You can just say, this is working for me because I'm paying attention to the results. So all of these benefits that you've listed, I've had lived experience of. And it's funny, you're talking about meditation as an academic, and everyone's studying it as this abstract concept, and then they actually do it. And they're like, wow, it's much easier just to study it as a concept. And but then when you actually learn with the teacher and you're given an experience of meditation and an actual sort of modality to observe your life as a meditator, to actually live and continue to observe benefits, then it becomes a more regular practice. And your practice, fast forward to years ago when we worked together, after your academic career, it became a regular practice for you. Actually, you're a pretty, of the people I taught, you're one of the most regular, I would imagine.
Yeah, I try. And that's something that is motivating this particular episode, that many of the people that I recommended meditation to when I first started doing it have since stopped. And I think they might have stuck with it for at most 1 year, which is odd because usually if you were to do something regularly for several months, it would have become a habit and you would just go into autopilot with it. So it seems like it's a harder habit for even people who were motivated at the beginning to stick with, which is really surprising for me as well. So I went and did a bunch of research asking them some questions. So that's what we're going to dive into to figure out what was keeping them from continuing with it. Because, literally you're just sitting there. Like, this is not a hard habit to do. It's a lot easier than going to the gym. And I see people going to the gym regularly after just getting into it for 6 weeks, which is awesome. But imagine all the hassle of getting the gym membership, putting all the stuff in your bag, driving to the gym, all of that. And meditation is simply just sitting in a quiet place. And there's very little friction to doing it. So the big issue is, like, why can't they stick with it to get these benefits, or even just to get to the point where they enjoy meditation for its own sake? All right. So one of the issues is that there are many different types of meditation. So often when you start to meditate, what you're going to do is, especially nowadays, you're going to get an app for it. There's an app for everything. There's an app for meditation. There are many apps for meditation. And these are, in fact, billion-dollar companies now in terms of valuation. And one of the common apps, one that I'd recommend, is actually called Insight Timer. And there's a lot of free features on that app, as one of the main reasons I recommend it first. The problem is it's very crowded. It's very jumbled. So when you get in there, there is a pure timer with cool background sounds, but there's also a ton of other things you can explore, which can be quite confusing to the first-time user or the beginner, because it's really overwhelming. So for instance, if you were to search for a guided meditation by practice, or by, actually, let's look at benefits first. You could get a whole list of them. And then it's like depression, pain, stress, focus, motivation, relax, confidence, happiness, gratitude, love, anxiety, sleep, or one for parents. So notice that these are all benefits, right? So just so that people know, again, reinforcing the point that meditation can help you with all of these things, which is awesome. But the downside is it can help you with all of these things, right? So you're like, oh shit, what do I need help with? Am I depressed? Am I in pain? Am I feeling stress? Or it's already priming you to feel negative things. So I'd recommend that you, that's a problem. This is too good.
People are looking at meditation allopathically. If you're familiar with that term, it means here's the symptom, here's the thing to address the symptom. It's how our whole medical system is built, and why our medical system doesn't really function very well to sustain health over time, because people are just going after symptoms and trying to target them. There is no meditation that treats one symptom. There's no like meditation for depression or meditation for like eating disorders. Meditation is like broad spectrum improvement and support, because it helps your entire mind, body, physiology, nervous system. That means everything is going to improve. It's the rest you need. It's like saying, like, why am I sleeping? Am I sleeping for this reason or that reason? You're sleeping for every reason. This is rest, just like that. It's more dynamic in other ways, which we can talk about.
Well, if you so I've explored these apps by benefits. I've explored them all for other business reasons. And what'll happen is, like, let's say you have pain. Well, if you tap on pain, you're going to get these meditations that will go something like this. It's going to have some nice background music, breathe deep, the whole thing, get you into it. And then it'll say, that part of your body that's in pain, let's focus on that. And then imagine a white light coming to it and all this other stuff, right? So they're trying to help you alleviate physical pain through these visualizations and through various ways of circulating energy, so to speak, through it, or breathing deeply into that part and just visual, that sort of thing. For depression, it might be focusing on gratitude or happiness or something like that. So there are meditations that are trying to address these just spotting these areas. So this is a fitness term, spot reduction and things like this. And it's sort of like when you're in fitness and you just want to get one body part stronger, right? So I don't really care about overall strength. I just want bigger biceps. Right? So anyone who's into fitness knows how ridiculous that is. Yes, of course, you could just do bicep curls endlessly, but that would be an awful workout and you'd end up with an imbalanced body. Right? So the best workout overall to get that, especially when you're a beginner, is to get compound movements, overall body fitness, and then you can go into targeting specific body parts, right, as like a secondary thing you would do. And you can do that with meditation. If you've got extra time, you can get into this. But then you're not, it's like just going to the gym to do bicep curls because you think your problem's only the bicep. It's going to be overall. You want to just get a good workout, get some good core strength and conditioning before you do any kind of like spot reduction or picking a particular body part, right? So women like to I just want to lose fat around my thighs, and they just endlessly do thigh workouts. And that's just not how it works. So that's filtered by benefit.
Yeah, and the other problem with that is that when, first of all, you're never really like fully isolating or targeting some area in your like mind and body when you're meditating. So you could be doing a meditation that does bring like intentionality and focus to a part of your body that can help alleviate pain there. It's very powerful. It works, but that's not the only benefit you're going to receive. It's just like one kind of concentration point of whatever, energy you're putting into the meditation. But you'll get a host of other benefits simply getting into a meditation mode. The problem is where we're looking in terms of results. So like with working out, spot reduction, right? Or like, let's say we're working out for weight loss or we're dieting for weight loss and we have a target weight and we hit the target weight. And then we're at the target weight. What do? We stop the diet. We stop working out. We say, I'm good now. And then what happens? Things, you return to the original weight. That's why people yo-yo with their weight, right? And so when you're meditating to say like, I just want to sleep better, or I want to stop smoking, then you stop smoking or you're sleeping better and you say, great, I don't have to meditate anymore. Then I'm good. And a lot of people have these very specific areas of their life they're looking at. Everything in their life is improving from meditation, but they're paying attention to. They're kind of keyholed in on one area. And then that area is, it gets to a certain point where it's tolerable, and then they get on with life because it's tolerable. Rather than looking at meditation as the medium to live a life where you are continually waking up, continually becoming a better version of yourself, continually getting rid of all the crap that's polluting your mind and body, which is always going to be coming in, even after you're meditating for like 10 years. After 10 years, I'm still processing a crazy world that I need to like work out of me from meditation. As a continual lifelong process, then you will meditate more when you look at it as a continual lifelong process.
Yeah, that's why we refer to it as a practice, and it's not just getting in sessions. So it becomes a kind of lifestyle, an approach to processing your experience, your lived reality. So I would say the same goes, exactly with fitness. And then if you filter by practice on these apps, you're going to get a ton more, I think even more. So popular practices on Insight Timer are, and there are 8 of them here: pure awareness, chakras, loving kindness, metta, guided imagery, yoga nidra, manifestation, and mindfulness. And then they have other categories, including sound, movement, self-observation, concentration, mindfulness, gentle repetition, and visualization. Oh my God, right? So like, no wonder people stop doing it. They go into the app, and the app's supposed to help them meditate. But these apps are actually aimed at experienced meditators who want all the different flavors of colors of the rainbow. And what a beginner would actually benefit from is an app that is just focused on beginner level meditation. And then when they get that down, then they can, my view is, then they can try out these other things. Sort of like when you've been working out for years, Now you can try some of these other types of workouts that are just targeting specific things or therefore specific narrow focuses. So I'd recommend an app that I learned about from Stefan called Oak, O-A-K, also free, mostly free. And their first page is simply 3 categories: meditate, breathe, or sleep. And then under each category, there are just 3 options. For meditate, it's just mindful, loving kindness, and unguided. And that's a really great way to think of broadly speaking, for me anyway, the 3 main types of meditation that I would undergo. Unguided, when I'm feeling good already, and I know I don't need extra motivation or cheerleading at the moment, but sometimes I do. And loving kindness is a great way of accessing my true self, because it's one of my favorite ones at the moment. And what it will do is help you send love and care to parts of yourself, and then to those that you love and care for. You visualize that person and bring them close to you and in your mind's eye, and then send those well wishes to them. And then if you have a longer one, it'll then send to those who you're neutral towards, and then to those that you might have some antagonism towards, and then to the whole world. And it's such a great practice to start the day with. And then, of course, mindfulness on its own. Pardon?
Is incredible. That practice is deceptively simple. It's transformative. I would say that's in my top 3 desert island meditation techniques for sure. Loving kindness, not only as a way to meditate, but as a way to live. You can take that into everything you do, which we can talk about.
Yeah. So in my therapy practice, one of the things we're aiming for is to increase self-energy, which means more of those characteristics of the true self, of courage, confidence, compassion, care, connectedness in you, and first and foremost from your true self to your parts. And loving kindness is one of the easiest, most direct ways of doing it, and one of the most enjoyable. And there are lots of different loving kindness guided meditations where the English translation of metta, the practice, changes. So some people say, I wish you peace or happiness, and it's fun, listening to other people's ways of breaking those well wishes out into in different ways. And I've tried many different people's recorded loving kindness, and I've done my own for our own people. I've done multiple ones actually. And anyway, so that's one of the main types. So I'd recommend you go to Oak instead of Calm, Headspace, or Insight if you're a beginner. If you already have some experience, obviously you love the buffet of practices and options here. But Stefan, what do you think about, and how is a beginner supposed to think about all of these different practices that are on the apps?
Yeah. First of all, Oak. Okay. So if you're a beginner, use Oak. And then if you're advanced, just use Oak in a more advanced way. You know what I mean? There's no, if you go to a monastery, or let's say you imagine yourself being this wonderful, tranquil and awakened being, do you think they're in front of an app being all right, which one is the best for theta waves?
So wait, on Oak, it doesn't have yoga nidra, for instance. You would. Yeah.
Oak is really stripped down and Zen. Yoga nidra is a yogic practice, and there's endless yogic modalities because it's it's a whole system of mind body medicine, and there's so many different things you can do, and these are all wells you can fall down. But anyone that's like a lifelong practitioner isn't using a million practices, isn't constantly fiddling with the next possible quick fix they might have come across. They have one well and they dig it deep. Okay, as what's his name? Satchidananda. It's one of the Ananda yogis. He goes, his interpretation of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. He says, find one hole and dig it deep. If you dig a bunch of shallow holes, you'll never hit water.
Yeah.
And advanced practices are simple practices practiced over a period of time. And your relationship to the practice simply becomes more advanced. You can become a fully whatever level meditator from doing one simple practice your entire life consistently. Yeah. So find a hole, dig it deep. And I guess the question is, which one? I have all of these options coming at me. And my answer is one you will actually do. That's it. Pick the one you do. Pick the one that you feel most inspired to sit your ass in a cushion for 20 minutes or less. But 15 to 30, let's say. And you will sit still for that entire meditation, get up out of that meditation and say, I am glad that I did that. You will look at your life and say, my life is a little fresher today, and a little fresher this week, and a little fresher this month. I'm going to keep doing this. That's the one you do. If there's one you are somehow blocked about getting to the chair with, then you have two options. Continue trying and continue working through those blocks, or find one that you actually, can feel settled on. But then once you find one you're settled on, don't say, but maybe there's a better one out there. Maybe there's one where I just get that extra little bit of jolt of theta waves. I just heard of something called strionic blathogronic frequencies. Maybe that's going to do something even more powerful to hack my nervous system. This is like this will be an endless spiral of, first of all, frustration, because you're never going to get the hang of any of these practices. I mean, very recently, I just did a walking meditation. I am by all intents and purposes, by all definitions, an advanced meditator. But seated meditation, I never did many walking meditations. I did a walking meditation, and I just didn't want to practice after a few minutes because I wasn't good at it. And I was discouraged. And I was like, this isn't something I'm good at. I don't want to do it, because we all want to do things we're good at, right? So you're going to constantly have that relationship to meditation. If you're constantly just trying to pick up new ones to see if they just give you the big payoff. But the first meditation, it's not going to. Now, walking meditation, I kept at it for the whole meditation. And as I meditated with it, it became more interesting. I had to make adjustments, and I had to accept being clumsy and foolish feeling, and had to overcome that. And I kept doing it, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. I don't know if it'll become a regular practice for me, but I managed to get over the hump in the beginning. But if you're just giving yourself hump after hump by
that sounds different.
Hump after hump, yeah. With wrestling with being a newbie at practices all the time, then you're more likely to set yourself up for defeat. So make a decision. Just make a decision, please, people. In this world that's telling you not to decide, but to keep seeking and keep being confused, say, fuck you. I'm not playing your game of endless options. I am not reading the next possibility that gets thrown at me. I'm going to make a decision, and please just do that.
Yeah. All of these different options on the app, it's giving us this paradox of choice. And it's like when you go to the Whole Foods or the grocery store and you just want to get a spaghetti sauce. And now you're staring at 50 different types of spaghetti sauce. And then you're just fuck it, I'm not going to get any spaghetti sauce at all. I'm just going to get a pizza. And that's the downside. So it also reminds me of the type of guys who go on bodybuilding.com or wherever, and they look at all the different workouts. And they'd only do a week on each workout. And they that's not good. I'm not getting the results now from this one workout this one time. I'll try another one. And they just keep trying lots of different workouts, thinking that the workout itself is what will determine whether they get their fitness results. When in fact, all good workouts will basically be doing the same sort of movements. Right? You've got your main movements, your deadlift, your squat, your bench press, your shoulder press, and there are variations on that. That's what these different workouts will give you, variations on the main movements. But if you're not good at the main movements, it won't matter if you do some kind of other fancy variation of a shoulder press. It's still a shoulder press. And if you're not good at shoulder presses, trying a new fancy variation won't help you. So I'd recommend, just like in fitness, figure out what the main movements are and get really good at those and strong at those. And then you can branch out later if you want to. Instead of looking at the frosting on the cake, you got to have a really good cake first. And in this one, we're giving you the main types. And broadly speaking, we've been focusing in our previous podcasts on mindfulness and mantra. And in fact, we have, for your convenience, our own mantra meditation course taught by Stefan. And it's at attentionmindfulness.com. Attentionmindfulness.com. You just enter your email in that and get it for free. So if you don't know which one to go for, but you trust us, do that one. That's free. And we walk you through how to do mantra meditation. And all you need from there is, a timer and a quiet place. You don't even need an app for it. But you can use it with an app as well.
And in case you're... Sorry, were you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
In case you're thinking what a lot of people think when it comes to picking a lane, in terms of, what's going to be my practice, it sounds like a big commitment. Like, okay, well, I'm getting a tattoo, so it better be like perfect. It better be like the most perfect choice of something because I'm going to be wearing this the rest of my life. And since I'm telling you to make a decision and stick to it for a period of time, you might be worried, oh no, but what if this turns out to be like not optimal, like not ideal? What if there's always something better out there? Everyone's got meditation FOMO, right? Which we've discussed. I will firstly assure you something, that there are so many different like styles of meditation, but like in a way, all roads lead to Rome, because they're going to give you a similar effect over time. Some have different areas they target and strengthen. Some have, a certain generalized effect that's maybe a little different than another kind. Some are more effective, maybe for some kind of people than others. You don't have to do too much experimenting to figure that out, though. You find a teacher that you resonate with. That's what I did. And they said, this is a meditation that really worked for me. Without endlessly comparing it to other ones, like, it's some kind of software subscription. Like I just simply say, okay, it worked for you. I dig you. Maybe it'll work for me. And it did. And I wasn't wondering if there was a better one out there. And in doing so, I'm much farther ahead than someone who's constantly trying new ones because one might be better than the other, just simply because I stuck to one over time. The best time to start a meditation practice is 10 years ago. The second best time is today, just like planting a tree, because you just get a chance to do that same one over time. And the benefits are going to be really powerful. Like, we talked about Yoga Nidra. It's like a lie down, sleep, bodily awareness meditation. Super powerful. Okay. We talked about mantra meditation. You're sitting upright. You're thinking a mantra. You're continually bringing your focus back to it. That's another kind. They sound totally different. In fact, their effect is quite similar. Quite similar. You're still bringing yourself into a similar neurological state, so to speak, that has a total global effect on healing the mind and body. So you just got to choose your road and know that you're going to get to Rome. There are people, their meditation practice is serving and drinking tea. They prepare tea, they serve it, they drink it. Tea. The way that they do it is very attentive, very reverent, and very detail-oriented and slow and very present. Simply being in that state while doing it, again, very similar effect. Mm-hmm. Totally different, like actual, animation of the meditation. But it just is simply their choice of how they want to walk this path. So that's why I say pick something you'll actually do, because that road will get you to that same place. The only difference is you're at an advantage because it's a meditation that inspires you to actually walk the road. And people that really love like tea and ceramic and serving to people, which I really love doing, and that's actually a practice for me beyond the scope of this podcast episode. Things I facilitate that I love and give people profound experiences that they would normally get in meditation, because I facilitate it with passion and I, bring everyone along for that. And it works for people. It works for people where other meditations don't, because they're like, I really like this stuff. This is really cool. And so that gets them into meditation. So, what is your thing that makes you say, aha, this makes sense. This works for me. And I can notice the results because I'm looking at all these areas of my life and they're all, they're all massively benefited from it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd recommend, though, obviously that we've mentioned, the meditation that you should do is the one that you enjoy the most and will stick with it, because that's the most important aspect, whether you're going to keep doing it. Because if you don't keep doing it, you're not going to get those results. So, and then you're just not going to be meditating. So the most important factor is, which one do you enjoy the most? And it could be one that we haven't even mentioned here so that's the most important thing, what you enjoy doing. And then once you get into that practice, because it's already a part of your lifestyle, you'll be able to branch out. And just for all our fitness heads, I know many of you guys do. The way I look at it is, I've been doing meditation, I guess, every day for 6 years, is the squat, deadlift, and pull-up of meditation for me are those triumvirate in the Oak app of mantra, mindfulness, and metta. So if you just want to focus on what are the squat and deadlift and pull-up of meditation, those are the biggies that I'd recommend. Those are the ones I hit. And of course, there are many different other types. We haven't explored the yoga versions and all the other different pure awareness and things like that. They're all out there for you to explore later, but get really good at one thing. In fact, there's one place where the analogy breaks down, because during the week you should probably do all three of those, of the squat, deadlift, and pull-up. But I'd recommend that you spend months, if not years, on just one type of meditation when you're starting out. So when I did the first time I did mantra meditation, I loved it, and I did it exclusively twice a day for about 2 years or so before I fired up some more mindfulness. And then I switched over to mindfulness because we had this cool headband called the Muse, and I was getting data, and that really tickled my intellectual, scientific part of my brain. And that was fun, gamifying it for a while, and I stuck with that for a few months. And then I found it to be too distracting and too much of a hassle to get the headband all set up and everything. So I switched back to mantra, and then later was, after several months back in mantra, I was then doing lots of different kinds of meditation, just branching out. And I'd recommend that going deep in one that you really, really like, and maybe once a week changing it up for fun. But I keep that going deep analogy for the type of meditation you choose. Also, just as maybe I can share from my own personal experience real quick on why it was mantra that resonated with me. When I did mindfulness as a grad student in the university, it was really esoteric in the sense of focus on this candle. Well, actually, it was the flame on the candle, and then just focus on it. And if you're, or it was like your breath. And it was taking me too much into my own skin. And I think for a lot of guys, they're so used to repressing their emotions that when you go straight into feeling what's going on in your body, you start to already suppress, because your natural instinct is to repress. So you just won't like being in the body. And looking back many years later on why I didn't take to mindfulness at the beginning was because I needed to be able to have that balance, be able to go deep and then to come up into the clouds, so to speak, and have that distance. And a lot of the initial benefit for me was to come out of being blended with the emotion, that overwhelming emotion of anger or frustration or whatever it is that took me over, and to be able to access that calm and that distance, to be able to get that perspective. And then later, when I was able to do that, and pretty much do that, like when I decide to do it, when I want to come out of it, and to achieve that state, sometimes it's much more challenging than other times. Once I'm able to do that, I know how to do it. Then I was able to stay in my body and really go into that mindfulness practice. So you might be the opposite of me, and you might be too detached, and you might need to the first thing you need to do is just get into your skin and being present. And so mindfulness might be your first thing that you really enjoy. So just try out those three main ones as your, that's my personal recommendation, as your squat, deadlift, and pull-up of meditation, so be mindfulness, mantra, and metta. And they're all available on the Oak app or our own mantra course. And just before we end here, we got two other quickies that Stefan's already addressed. One of them is doing it right. So one of the big obstacles is for guys stopping meditation is, am I even doing anything here? I'm just sitting here with my eyes closed, daydreaming. What a waste of time. Am I doing it right? And then the final the stumbling block, obstacle is, am I getting results? So some people stick with it for a few weeks, trying to meditate, and they don't see these promised results that are supposedly in that list of benefits. What would you say to somebody in that situation? You've already addressed it, but just giving you the question point blank.
Let's say, like, for all intents and purposes, meditation and mindfulness are two distinct modes we can be in, right? There's the practice we're doing with our eyes closed, usually, in isolation somewhere, and just like we would sleep. It's like our recharge, right? But then, like, mindfulness is something we can take into anything, right? We're like, we're eating, we're doing it mindfully.
You can work out mindfully.
You can work out mindfully. We're speaking with someone, we're doing it mindfully. How much are we adapting like the ability to pay attention to our everyday life. You can do that with metta as well. Like you were saying, the loving kindness meditation. How much am I bringing loving kindness into what I'm saying to my partner right now, or to this stranger I've never met? Why can't I give them loving kindness when I speak, right? So you can apply this paying attention practice to your life, and you need to start noticing how things are changing in subtle ways, because it's those subtle areas that are really, really profoundly important. All these like little nuances of like, am I a little more patient now? Am I taking a little more time to respond? Do I have a little more energy? Am I less likely to react? Am I less likely to believe what my mind is telling me? Am I noticing what's happening in my mind more? That is a profound shift, to go from just simply like getting knocked around by our thoughts and feelings to actually noticing them and saying, where does that even come from? And do I believe it? Like most people live their whole lives never doing that. If you do that once, you might not like what you see, but the fact that you've actually done it and actually noticed that is the beginning of a whole new life for you. The first time you actually do that, because now you're able to start being aware of yourself and deciding what aspects of your thinking and belief systems are actually serving you. And I know, a lot of people that work with you are already on that path, but you'd be amazed. Most people just never really think about like what it is they're actually feeling and thinking and whether or not it's true.
Yeah. So the results is a big part of why people quit if they don't see immediate results from sitting in silence for every day for a while. And I know a lot of our audience is achievers or are achievers. And one of the issues is if you don't enjoy the workout, the practice, that particular yoga routine, you're not going to do it. And earlier, Stefan, you were saying if it's uncomfortable, that's good. And I would just say that that's an intermediate advice. So it's sort of like saying to somebody who's just starting to work out, when you feel that discomfort, that's a sign of growth, which is absolutely 100% true. But then that's also the reason why those people drop out and they won't be back next week, right? So at the very, very, very beginning, and for my own story as well, the reason achievers love mantra meditation is because it allows them to be detached from their emotions more, which when you're somebody who's hot-headed or your emotions flood you, or you're very anxious and needy when a girl doesn't reply to your text messages right when you need her to, like 2 seconds after you sent yours, all of those symptoms. If you just want to be able to have more regulation of your emotions, mantra is probably the best way to start. And that was the most enjoyable for me. I saw immediate results because if I'm able to observe my thoughts float by without being my thoughts, if I'm able to see the emotions and the thoughts behind the emotions that cause that feeling, and I see them there, which means I've already got some objective distance from them. Like, oh, there they are. Then I'm not them. I'm not those emotions and thoughts per se. And I can distance and I can let them just float by. And that was an immediate thing right there in the middle of that meditation. So the results should be right in the meditation itself. You can look for results after you open your eyes. And if you really did do a good job, like you stay still, you didn't open your eyes and check your phone in the middle of your meditation, and people still count the 20 minutes, but they're actually not really meditating. But if you actually really meditated, you don't need to wait until the meditation's over to go and check for results. It's just sort of like in fitness, you might just keep looking in the mirror or hopping on the weighting scale. And the question is, are you stronger? For one, can you lift more weight more easily? Can you do more reps? It's actually that you can see the results right in the workout. And with yoga, can you go deeper into that pose? Can you hold the pose longer? You can see the results right in the workout. The workout is actually the best way to test whether you are making progress. Same with meditation. For me, I found the actual meditation sessions, if you don't enjoy them, you're not going to stick with them. If they're too uncomfortable, you're just going to stop them. So one of the things about mindfulness for achievers is it takes them into the presence, into the present. But that's where all of their emotions lie, and the emotions were causing them to make these financial errors. And it shouldn't be a mystery to those who are achievers why the best financial traders and those who are doing the best in many ways, most successful financially, are those who are able to detach themselves from their emotions when making these decisions. It's also why AI will beat the shit out of all of us when it comes to finally making these moves and the trades and so on, because they're without emotion. And one of the things that will be really pleasant to you is not being overwhelmed by the anxiety or by this depressing down feeling, or by the fear or the anxiousness that comes from those different scenarios I mentioned with women, especially. I know many of you are following us because of that. And again, I'd push that tensionmindfulness.com free course that Stefan made on mantra, changed my life completely. And then after I was able to get that distance, being able to then embark on more of that discomfort of being present and staying with the emotion, especially when it came to therapy. So when it comes to the therapeutic process, you're going to need to stay with the unpleasant, uncomfortable emotions that are erupting. And they might start as tension in the body somewhere. And maybe that's around the nose, because that means you're about to cry, or that tightness around the chest when you're overwhelmed by fear. And instead of escaping from them and floating up above them, as is a really good skill to be able to do in the moment, especially to be able to just regulate, but then to be able to stay with it a little longer and a little longer each time, and then leaning into it and encouraging it to come out even faster, the emotion. These are all amazing skills that are taught in or trained in meditation. And the mantra and mindfulness were my 1-2 punches for most of my time meditating. And again, tensionmindfulness.com, we got that free course on mantra. And the best way to stick with it is to make it enjoyable for you. And for most achievers, I think they'll get immediate benefit from mantra. And then what Stefan was saying, like, you can't do it wrong. As long as you're sitting, your eyes are closed, I don't think there's a way that you could do it wrong, right?
There are ways. Well, here's the thing. One thing I want to add to that about talking about enjoying meditation. It's good that you enjoy your meditations. Not everyone does every time, and you can't pursue enjoyment. But also, and I'm talking about discomfort, how it's like a really valuable thing to experience. You also can't pursue discomfort, so you can't strain. And you can't get frustrated when things aren't going your way, aren't going and looking really nice. You just have to be ready for anything and accept it. And that's really simple protocol. And meditation is going to make you better at being fine with whatever's happening. But just go in with that mindset, and whatever practice you do, especially this one that we bring you through tension, then you get the most profound benefit, and you have the most fluid experience. And then just get, a lot more attentive to seeing all the little things in your life that are going more fluidly.
Yeah.
And you're good.
Yeah. And I'd also just throw in there, just as training wheels for those guys who are maybe not going to enjoy the silence, and that's already too much for them, is that you can use some of the guided meditations on the apps if you enjoy them, so that at least it gets you into the habit of sitting down and closing your eyes. And it's just baby steps. And I've actually made my own guided meditations as training wheels for guys who just need the discipline to be able to actually find a place in their apartment to sit. That's like already a big accomplishment. And to make it a kind of sacred space for them too. And to block it out the roommate's noise and all that breakfast sound, and just take that time, and just to get used to the habit of taking that time. It's like if you want to get somebody to the gym, you just get them in the habit of preparing their gym bag and getting to the gym. If they get their feet in the door, there's a very good chance they're going to actually work out. So if you just got to get their feet in the door. So now I'm just trying to get people to just close your eyes, sit down for 10 to 20 minutes, and you listen to something that's actually enjoyable. It's like nice. We give you some nice visualizations with cool, calming music in the background, and we cue you to breathe. So these are super big training wheels, and we take them off and give you smaller training wheels, lots more silence during the meditations, and eventually you can just go full on in with just silence and the little bell that just tells you when to start and stop. And these are just training wheels. So there's no shame at all if you need to avail yourself of the nice sounding meditations that are in the apps, with realizing these are training wheels with a view to actually doing like real meditation, so to speak, And of course, I would recommend for most of us mantra to start, but it really is the one that you enjoy the most. And then eventually over time, getting to all the rest. So we covered a lot more ground than we expected. It's almost double the length that we were aiming for. And any other parting words, Stefan, on the many types of meditation and what to do?
I think people say this with everything, with nothing. It doesn't apply to anything more than it applies to meditation. Start simple and just have some patience with yourself, compassion for yourself. Just go easy on yourself, okay? Not only should you not expect things to go perfectly the first time, know that you're getting the same benefit from things not going perfectly as you would as an advanced meditator. This is really something that's very important, and that's the power of meditation on how it shifts things just without us even having to be that involved in the process. Just follow the simple instructions and things will start to get better for you in every way. Whatever it is you specifically want to get better in your life, and then a lot of other shit that you never bargained for. And you'll be happy and delighted and surprised by the results.
Beautiful. Great way to end. And again, I'd recommend tensionmindfulness.com for a free meditation course. And this has been David Tian and Stefan Ravalli. And thank you so much for listening. Stefan, how can they get a hold of you? They want to learn more about you and your work?
Oh, yeah. Check me out on serveconscious.com, where I have a lot of content and a podcast and an upcoming course on mindful service, which teaches meditation and also mindful ways of doing our work in ways that it'll make us have a totally new experience of it and a very fulfilling work life. So check that out.
Awesome. And you can find out more about me at David Tian, TIAN.PhD.com, DavidTianPhD.com. And thank you so much for listening and watching. And we'll see you in the next podcast. Take care.
Hey, it's David again. Before you go, a couple last things. First, all the show notes and links to resources can be found at davidtianphd.com/DTPHD podcast. Or you can just go to davidtianphd.com and find it through the top navigation menu. Second, if you'd like to interact with me and other like-minded fans of this podcast personally, then join our private DTPHD Podcast Facebook group. We've got an awesome community of intelligent, wise individuals from literally all around the world. You can send a join request to the group using the link you'll find in the show notes of every podcast at davidtianphd.com/DTPHD podcast. Click the link, log into your Facebook, and then click to join. We approve join requests every day. So go to davidtianphd.com and click the link to join. See you inside our group.